So those were the broad highlights. Now, what does the survey say about the state of Indian economy? What does it predict for the future? And what's so unique and different about this particular survey? We'll take all of this one by one. First, what does the survey tell you about the current economic scenario of India? Look at this. The survey shows that India remains the fastest growing large economy in the world despite the slight contraction in 2018-19. India remains the 7th largest economy in the world in terms of GDP at current prices. The contribution to world economy and emerging markets has consistently risen over the years and risen sharply in the last few years. But a quarter-wise analysis of GDP shows a gradual decline. The survey notes this major development. It also corroborates it with auto sales data, loan growth data in NBFCs. But there is no major reason to be alarmed, because if the contribution of agriculture and public administration is removed from the GDP growth rate, then the economy actually grew at a faster rate than in 2017-18. On the external front, the current account deficit has widened thanks to the rise in global crude oil prices. This has also contributed to a rise in trade deficit. Yes, there is a marginal slowdown in growth, but India still remains the most favored destination for foreign investment. FDI inflows have remained consistently high since the year 2015, and that is a good sign. The other major growth driver is consumption, and here India is comfortably placed. Consumption, investment, exports, imports, they've all risen this year. The survey shows that green shoots in investment activity are beginning to take shape. Bank credit to industry is growing on a monthly basis, and all these bode well for the Indian economy. And that brings us to the next question. At what rate will India grow in FY20? This survey projects the economy growth at 7%. It also shows that India remains and will continue to remain a low inflation economy, at least in the near future. And this is the big headline from the survey. Amid the falling global growth, if India can grow at a rate of 7% and add jobs, the health of the economy is bound to improve. So what is unique about this survey? This is a big list, but let me give you some snippets. This survey borrows heavily from religions to incorporate good practices in financial management. For instance, the survey aims to favor this philosophy: dying in debt is a sin. This is part of the economic survey. And where does it pick this inspiration from? The doctrine of pious obligation from Hinduism, Islam and Christianity. What is it? Let me read out parts of what this survey says and where it quotes from. In Hinduism, non-payment of debt is a sin and a crime too. If a person's debts are not paid, he dies in a state of indebtedness. His soul may face evil consequences. It becomes the duty of his children to save him from evil consequences. In Islam, there is a prayer, and I'm quoting again. It says, "O Allah, I seek refuge with you from sin and heavy debt." In the Bible, Romans 13.8 reads that, "Let no debt remain outstanding except the continuing debt to love one another." I'm not saying this. All of this is in the economic survey, and for the one simple reason, the survey will be remembered. The survey talks at length about utilizing public policy to bring in behavioral changes. With these memorable quotes, the survey walks the talk as well. And apart from these variety of initiatives, the economic survey gives a broad outline for the country to become a $5 trillion economy by 2025. First things first, India's GDP needs to grow at an annual rate of 8% from now on to reach this $5 trillion mark by 2025. The theme of the survey itself sets the tone. Chief Economic Advisor Subramanian has said that the survey is imbued by the spirit of unfettered blue sky thinking. And I'm quoting his words. Now, blue sky thinking in business terms means having creative ideas to come up with solutions that have not been considered previously. It's a cliche in business circles, and the phrase has been in vogue since the 1970s. While it roughly resembles out-of-the-box thinking, the blue sky thinking is slightly different. But in an economic roadmap, there is a lot more than cliches. So how does the survey aim to achieve the $5 trillion economy goal? Hike investments, it says, allow banks to lend more, and stoke consumer demand with public policies. These are the basic objectives. In line with the blue sky thinking, the survey talks about India's emergence as a manufacturing hub. One of the areas the survey focuses on is the electric vehicle push. If indeed the government takes a leaf out of the survey and raises its game in the EV space, that could lead to a generation of jobs. More jobs means more consumption means more economic activity, and that is what they're betting on. The survey also recommends easing of labour laws to create jobs. It aims to expand the labour law restrictions in place in Rajasthan and the rest of the country. One of the things the economic discourse is often overlooked is the impact of social factors like health and education. This survey reiterates the need for improving the health sector. And it rightly believes that improvement in the health sector would lead to labour productivity. And that in turn will initiate a ripple effect, improving savings and investment. The survey also proposes a complete overhaul of minimum wages in India. Such an initiative will put more money in the hands of the Indian consumer. In economic terms, the survey says that the decline in the gross NPAs should push the capex cycle higher. Besides, the survey expects the stress in the NBFC space to ease. Remember, the NBFC crisis is a major reason for the growth slowdown this year. And the one thing that is working for this government is the political stability. Politics could do wonders to an economy if the synergies are utilized properly. The survey rightly points out that political stability will push the much-needed animal spirits of the economy.